Oh, what an interesting week. Tesla and Elon dealing with the Maryland judge, the tech earnings yesterday, the Fed saying no to March, and now a stunning employment report. But there's more to that report than meets the eye, and we'll talk more about that later. Okay, so Marques Brownie, who has done other Tesla review videos on his channel, Autofocus, talks about on this particular week, he got a Tesla Model 3 Plus for an entire week, and he tested it like crazy. He talks about it like it was his new girlfriend. He says it's the easiest to recommend electric car in the world right now. He said he was impressed on so many different levels. Most everything he talked about, they were things that we already knew from some of the fantastic review videos that came out of Europe a few months ago. But it's a big plus to have yet another one come out that now that the car is available in the United States, we could use more of these to help stimulate sales. Apparently, the car is just outstanding, and of course, at the price, there's just nothing to compare. I continue to believe that this is going to be a much bigger seller than anybody's expecting worldwide, and could really be a big part of the story in 2024. And of course, it's already improving with over-the-air updates. We've heard from Bradford Ferguson last night. Oops, I'm sorry. I went on with the story here before I told you the story. Had an over-the-air update last night. What did it do? I'll try to remember before the story's over. It had an over-the-air update that was pretty interesting. Anyway, Bradford Ferguson did say last night that Model Y numbers are increasing in Austin. And we also now hear from Giga Berlin. This is from GF4 Tesla. It looks like Giga Berlin has reached the 6,000 Model Y per week, and it's now on to 10,000 per week. So go Giga Berlin, go, it says. That's pretty darn interesting. I'm excited to hear that that's also going to happen. Oh, here we go. Here is that update on the Model 3. Got things a little bit out of order this morning. So from Herbert Ong, it says Tesla just released new and updated adaptive headlights on the Model 3 Highland. This feature is part of the latest software update version 2024. Point 2, according to Tesla's release notes for this adaptive headlights, the high beam now adjusts to reduce glare for other drivers and cyclists. By detecting other road users and selecting dimming individual pixels of the headlight, the high beam can remain on longer, enabling better visibility at night. The latest headlights prioritize reducing glare and enhancing visibility for drivers by selectively dimming individual pixels. That is a cool idea. Listen, this is Randy Kirk. Please hit the like, subscribe, notify, all that stuff. You know what to do, but don't just hear me say it. You really need to hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed, I am really closing in on 20,000 subscribers. It'd be great to get to that 20,000 level. So if you haven't subscribed yet, that would be wonderful if you do that. And then listen, we have, of course, Cathie Wood gives her report tonight. Larry and I will report on that fully tomorrow morning around 10 o'clock California time. Now, could come earlier because it depends on when Cathie comes out with the report. Sometimes it's on Friday night. Sometimes it's actually Saturday morning. So depending on when that comes out, we will produce our analysis, and that'll come out tomorrow morning. That's why you want to hit notify. We are selling a lot more Cybertruck bottle openers again all of a sudden. So please place your order. $25. All the information is down below in the information. And then join Patreon. Join Patreon. That would be a big help to the channel. All right, from Curious Peggy this morning, PEJJY, we have Tesla Shanghai delivered 71,447 vehicles in the month of January, and that is up 8.17% year over year, but down 24.1 since December. Of course, you normally have this drop off in January compared to December. Now, being up 8.1% year over year also doesn't sound that great. We wanted to be up 50%. But the reality is that Shanghai is getting close to max. So you only can get so many Model Ys out of and Model 3s out of that factory. And so I'm not sure how in the world they get a 50% increase in China this year. But getting an 8% increase January over January is certainly a good thing. Now, that is, of course, domestic shipments, has nothing to do with export. We'll find out that information in a couple of days in terms of the total overall output of Tesla Shanghai. All right. This is an interesting this morning. 5-year returns on these three stocks. Now, you know, statistics are a funny thing. You can pick your dates. So this analysis, if it was three-year returns or 2-year returns or 1-year returns, it would be very, very different. But on these 5-year returns, Meta has a 206. You've doubled your money over the last 5 years with Meta. Tripled your money. On Amazon, you've doubled your money, about 105% improvement. But on Tesla, you've 775 times your money if you've had Tesla all that time. It is up 875%. Tesla is in the news today for two inconsequential issues. Price drop in Canada for the Model Y in order to get the incentives. So you've got the drop on the price of about $4,000, but it gives those Canadians a drop of $11,000 because now they get the incentive. So please don't read into this that this is the beginning of price dropping around the world. This is a one-off, very unique situation. Maybe we'll hear more about that later, but probably not. So anyway, that was interesting. But there's also a recall due to the size of the font on the warning light. Or warning symbols or warning. Anyway, this is an over-the-air update, but you're going to see headlines: 2 million Tesla vehicles recalled. You know, we're so used to this. Truflation, listen to this now. Truflation drops again, this time to 1.34%. This is very, very important on this overall situation that's developing this morning because of the jobs report. But before I give you the jobs numbers, which you've probably already heard were a huge, huge number, listen to this. This is from Real E.J. Antoni. He says, stop going crazy about this jobs report. The Bureau of Labor Statistics themselves told us last month that data from January 24 and later months are not directly comparable to prior months because of methodology changes. Now, we're going to need to find out more about what that actually means. How can we come up with some kind of comparison when the BLS told us that you can't make these comparisons? But having said that, the stock market and the bond market and everybody else, including Tesla stock, are all reacting very negatively to this jobs report because it is confirming in many people's eyes that the Fed will not be able to raise in March, and maybe May might be off the table. So here you go. Total non-farm payroll employment rose by 353,000 in January, and they were expecting about 180,000. I mean, not they, but the economists that were polled. The unemployment remained steady at 3.7, and economists thought it would go to 3.8. The change in total non-farm payroll employment for November was also revised up by 9,000 from 173 to 182,000. And the change for December, are you ready? Was revised up by 117,000 from 216,000 to 333,000. So one thing we have to think about is, can we trust these numbers at all? You may remember that the November number was already revised down by 35% last month. And now the December number is revised by almost double. Well, no, okay, 60%, something like that, from 216 to 333. I mean, holy mackerel, that's a massive, I guess it's actually closer to 50%. I'm sorry, I did the numbers wrong. So that's a massive change. So what's going on now? Is that part of the change in the way that they're now doing the numbers? Are these numbers being monkeyed around with in order to give certain administrations some advantages of going to an election year? I mean, all of that is very, very weird. Love to hear more about that. Okay, in January, though, average hourly earnings for all employees on private non-farm payrolls rose by 19 cents, or about 0.6% to $34.55. That's a pretty big jump, 0.6%. That'd be much higher than the Fed wants. The average hourly earnings increased by 4.5% year over year. That's a little bit more than the Fed ones. In January, average hourly earnings of private sector production and non-supervisory employees rose by 13 cents or 0.4%. That would be in line. The average work week for all employees, however, decreased by 0.2 hours to 34.1 hours in January, and is down by 0.5 hours over the year. So as the numbers have been going up, much less overtime being given, and that's also probably partially due to this calming down of the supply chain problem. Anyway, the bond market is spooked this morning. The yields were up by 114 basis points the last time I looked, to just over 4%. We'll take a look at that number in just a second. Now, this could tend to put the nail in the coffin for the Fed dropping rates in March. The Fed, though, doesn't want inflation to drop below 2%, and you just heard what the true-flation numbers were showing, down under 1.5% already. So what's the Fed to do? It's got a hot economy, low inflation. I say they've got to cut. We had this situation exactly like this pre-pandemic. We're just picking up where we were in the economy before the Black Swan event threw things into complete disarray. So where are the markets now? Let's start as usual with Tesla. Tesla was down over 4. It is now only down 3.35. So it is trending up. We've got Apple down bad, Google down bad, Amazon up, of course, and Meta up very strongly. NVIDIA very strongly up. We have got the Cathie Woods all down, but not as much as you might think, given these the Treasury bond numbers. So let's go and see what is happening with those Treasury bond numbers. Oh, I didn't give you the percentages. Somebody will be very unhappy if I don't do that. So let me tell you about the percentages. Dow Jones down 0.38%, NASDAQ up 0.65%, S&P up 0.21%. Now, again, that NASDAQ only being up 0.65%, when you have three of the Mag 7 stocks up so strongly, you've got overall the NASDAQ is overall really down if you take out those Mag 7s. The Tesla is down just almost exactly 2%. And I think I did not tell you the Dow Jones is down 154 points, NASDAQ up 93, S&P up 9. Okay, now let's go take a look at the bonds. We have got the bonds sitting right now. We have got the 10-year is now up 13 basis points. So you're looking at 3.993, so just under 4% again. So it is trending towards thinking about this is not maybe as big a deal as they thought, but that's still a pretty big bounce, but still under 4%. I think that's a good sign. The 2-year is at 4.355. It is up 16 basis points this morning. So it is now about almost 14 basis points again now, dividing these two. That is, again, building up more than it was before. So the inversion is getting worse this morning. Now it's been running around between 13 and 15, for quite a while. All right, let's see. Let's go on to oil. Oil is down strongly this morning. Boy, somebody said, I saw one headline saying it looks like it could be heading to a 6 handle again. So Texas Intermediate is at $72. That's $1.54 down for the morning. Brent is down $1.38. I guess I didn't see any headlines at all with regard to the Middle East or the Red Sea. I'll do some research on that before tonight's show. We have got natural gas up 1% this morning, but still, of course, very, very down a lot compared to normal. You've got gold up $24. I'm sorry, down $24. Again, sounding like people are not rushing off to safety. So maybe a lot of those peace conversations that we heard yesterday are moving along in the right direction. You've got copper down 0.78% this morning. The dollar is up a little bit, not unexpectedly. You have Bitcoin down 226 as of this, about 43. That's where it's been. And then you have got, that is everything. Let me go back on Tesla one more time, and it is down, still down $3.99. No change there since we looked a minute. Okay, so remember, tonight is Cathie Wood night. Once per month, for those of you who don't know, she does her analysis of the economy. It is so excellent. I can tell you that there's just nothing else that you can find anywhere in the entire financial world that comes close to being as interesting and thoughtful and thorough as what Cathie does once a month. Now, Larry and I listen to that analysis. We take huge amounts of notes, and then we get together on Saturday morning and we do what turns out to usually be about an hour show where we take that information and we put our own spin, our own analysis onto it. And of course, Larry and I don't come from the same position a lot of times, so we end up not agreeing, but I think it is turning out to be a huge favorite on this channel. So that's tomorrow morning. Remember to hit notify in order to be reminded about that. And of course, to hit notify, you need to hit subscribe. And if you hit subscribe, we'll get closer to my 20,000 number. We're less than 200 away. All right. Yesterday, I did an analysis of the ARK Invest annual study. They do this big idea study once a year, and they divide it into all the different sections that they care about. Anyway, I tackled the one on robotics yesterday around the noon hour. Nobody watched it. I mean, it just didn't get it. I don't know. I guess my thumbnail and the title weren't salacious enough. I think maybe I need to start paying more attention to how MSM does their salacious titles, and they're overstated and they're hyperbolic. I mean, I didn't do any of that stuff, and so nobody watched it. I mean, holy mackerel, I was so shocked. You should watch that video. I will put the card right here. And then when you're thinking about that, the next thing you should do is go on and order up a Cybertruck bottle opener and refrigerator magnet. Very, very popular, exciting item. You know you need some, and the information on that is down below. And then join Patreon. Remember, you can join at the $3 level. It doesn't matter to me which level you join at. I'd just like to have you be part of the Patreon team, and it helps to support the channel. All right, that's all I've got for you this morning. I will look forward to talking to you a couple more times a day. It has been great talking to you this morning.